Every time you act out, you feel shame and you just feel terrible afterwards, right? You think that's enough to stop you from doing it? Think again. The truth is, the shame is actually feeding the addiction. It's actually propelling it forward into more acting out. So here's what would happen to me. I would act out. I'd go through the trance and the ritual of sexual acting out, pornography, other behaviors, all that kind of thing. Then it would be all over and I'd feel shame, guilt, despair. I'd feel terrible afterwards and I would promise myself I'm never going to do it again. And if you hooked me up to a lie detector, I would pass that lie detector. And then what would happen after that is that shame actually fed into what I call restless, irritable, and discontent. And after maybe 2 hours, 2 weeks, 2 days, some period after I make that solemn oath to myself never to do it again, I start to feel the restless, irritable, discontent edge, which is really my life problem, my internal reaction to life, which in some ways is fed by my reaction to life, but also fed by the shame and guilt I feel around the acting out behavior. So the shame actually would feed that and it would grow in an intensity. And I knew the only thing that would make me feel better in that moment would to do some more acting out. It's the cycle of addiction. You do the behavior, you feel guilty afterwards, shame, guilt, despair, remorse, promise yourself you're never going to do it again. That feeds the internal reaction to life, the shame, the guilt, the restless, irritable, and discontent. The mental obsession hits to do it again because you know deep down that that's the one thing that's going to take all the pain that I feel internally about my actions. It's going to make that all go away for the period of time that I'm acting out. And so the obsession grows and grows and grows, and then I start acting out again. And I go through another cycle of relapsing, emerging remorseful with a solemn oath again not to do it. And I stayed in that cycle for years and years and years, and it nearly killed me. So shame is not actually the tool by which we can be motivated to stop. Actually, recovery needs to be that tool. So it's a bit of a complex process, and it's something we do in my recovery coaching program, but we establish the recovery supports, the community, the groups. You get one-to-ones, you get a curriculum and a recovery process. We get clear on what does it mean to be sexually sober, what are the behaviors that are okay and what are not. You get it in a supportive community of other men who are experiencing the same thing. Other men who have acted out many times over the years, promised themselves they're not going to do it because of the shame and guilt and despair that they feel afterwards, and then they find that they couldn't do it and they continue in the addiction. You get around people that have that same experience, you start to connect with them, and then you start to support each other through the early phases of the mental obsession that wants to bring you back to it over and over again. You get one-to-ones, you get a curriculum and a recovery process. We get clear on recovery foundations. You start to put some time together. Your brain chemistry starts to heal. It starts to become a little bit easier to not act out. And then what we do is we do the real work, healing the underlying issues. Because addiction, the acting out behavior, it for me was just a symptom of a deeper issue. I actually had a life problem. I had a sober problem, not an acting out problem. And the reason I say that is because I needed the acting out to feel better in my life. So it makes sense to say, well, the acting out behaviors are just a symptom of a deeper issue. If I heal the underlying issue, if I heal that deeper issue, if I heal the life issue, if I heal the reasons I feel restless, irritable, and discontent, all the fear, all the false beliefs I have in my life, all the garbage that goes on in between my ears that has nothing to do with sexual acting out, has all to do with just the way that I perceive the world, the way that I react, the propensity I have to have anxiety, to have depression. Sometimes for a lot of people it's a mental health issue. All those things, if I heal that, then the necessity to feel better by acting out starts to go away. And so the truth is, the shame is not the tool that keeps me sober, but I want to take a look at all the things that go on internally for me in my life, my reaction to life, my life issue, and start to heal that. When I do that, then I can get an understanding of what's going on with me on a deep level, and it breaks the addiction cycle. So what people find is that because I treated my life issue, my internal reaction to life, two things happen. Once I break the cycle and the obsession goes away, so I no longer go through my day wondering if and when I'm going to act out, that mental obsession that would lead me back to it almost goes away. And then the second thing is because I'm treating my life issue and my reaction to life in my internal states, my life gets better. So it's a win-win. So I break the cycle, I stop the destructive behavior, I stop feeling all the shame that I was feeling after I would relapse, but also I start feeling better. No more anxiety, no more depression, no more negative thought. I do have negative thoughts at times, but like fears and false beliefs, and I'm just much more comfortable in my own skin. I don't need my addictive behavior to feel better, to get out of myself, to try to heal the restless, irritable, and discontent, because I'm able to do that without the use of acting out. And so my life gets better. For the last 16 years of my life, I've not had large degree of anxiety and depression, and I have a very good perspective on life, and I'm able to work towards my goals more efficiently, and I no longer have the obsession to act out sexually. It's really amazing. So each day, each week, each year goes by, my life just gets better and better and better, and I wouldn't want to ruin that with sexual acting out. Hey, if you're resonating with this and this makes total sense to you and you're interested in potentially working with me in my 12-week recovery coaching program, there's a link around here somewhere. Go to the website, book a call with one of my recovery advisors. We'll talk about your situation. We'll see if it even makes sense what's going on with you, if you actually have this, and if it makes sense to work together. And if it does, we'll walk through what that would look like working together. And at the very least, if you get on that call, you're going to learn a lot about your situation. You're going to learn a lot about recovery. You're going to learn a lot about addiction, and you'll have some practical tools to take with you regardless of whether you work with us. But if you do want to work with us, we'll walk through what that would look like. We can really help you do those things where you start to overcome the shame, you start to get a recovery structure, really get the accountability and support and the clear guidance and the healing of underlying issues so that you can truly recover from this long term. So schedule a call. We'll talk to you soon, and thanks for being on this video today.